This is Karen with NewClevelandRadio.net, and it is time for What in the World with
Paul Seaburn. Hi,
It's
Karen.
You.
I'm
Yes.
here. Yes, once again, they couldn't get rid of me. They tried, but
Now, for what we pay you, you should be here every week.
I should be here early.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Yes, I'm here at What in the World. I'm here with Karen Hale, the our producer, our co-host, and media mogul at NewClevelandRadio.net. John Dinallo will not be with us again this week, but we do expect him to come back next week. So just hang in there. He's got some weird sports stories for us, as always, and John will be back and playing bluff the co-host. So in the meantime, we still have plenty of real news, sometimes strange, always funny stories here at What in the World, as always. Thank you for watching. If you're watching live, thank you for watching in the future if you're catching us on YouTube. And thank you for listening if you are on Spotify and all those other platforms.
Absolutely.
If you're listening, that means you already know how to find this stuff. I know. I sometimes wonder. I give instructions to people who aren't listening. How would they know to follow my instructions?
Well, see, it's the people who are listening to give those instructions to those other people.
Have you ever met any of our listeners?
Um,
Are they the
yes,
kind of people who would do that?
I've met your wife.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and she tells people how to find us.
Yes, yes, yeah, absolutely.
But we do have good friends who tune in on a regular basis, both live and on all those platforms. So thank you all for being here with us every week. The stories, as I like to mention, they are real from the internet. Many of them come from my research for Mysterious Universe, which is the website where I am the editor and head writer, mysteriousuniverse.org. Those stories are generally more paranormal, more Bigfoot kind of stuff. Whereas here we just find the weird stuff and have a good time with it. And boy, Karen, another weird week as always. It just never ceases to amaze me that we never run out of weird stuff to talk about.
No, we don't, because we have a lot of weird people living in this world, including
All over in the universe. I have a couple of out of this world, new universal type of stories here. So let's get started.
Okay.
And even though I just mentioned that we have stories from around the universe, two of our stories this week are from good old Cleveland, Ohio, which we are just south of. Karen is in. We were just talking about Saratoga, not Sagamore.
Sagamore here in Summit County.
And I'm in Brecksville. But we all consider ourselves to be part of Cleveland. So I've got two stories from Cleveland, one having to do with Baker Mayfield, the quarterback of the Browns, seeing a UFO, and his wife also seeing a UFO. So we're going to find out about that. And then other cities have monolith, the big tall metal things. Yep. Cleveland has its own, but it's in the shape of a nose. This was, and this made national news. I can't believe this. It just shows either there's a lack of funny news around the world, or I don't know. I don't know
what they say. The nose knows.
The nose does know, and you're going to know more about noses than you know already.
Wow.
No. Yes. Hey. I mean, yes. This is Karen. This is a wild story. Okay. Let's see. What else are we going to talk about here? The UFO. Oh, strange pizzas in Iowa. Not a state known for pizzas, but wait till you see this one. What your coffee says about you. This is an interesting story from a recent study. So be prepared. You may learn some things about yourself based on your coffee preferences. Good opportunity to mention Joe Max, our old friend, where we would used to do the show live. In fact, I stopped there the other day to buy some donuts and say hello to everybody. No one there knows us anymore. All new people, fresh turnover. But speaking of turnovers, which reminds me of donuts, the donuts are still just outstanding.
Absolutely, they are.
Absolutely outstanding. I'm sure the coffee is too. We're going to talk about coffee. We're going to go to Alaska and visit an island of rats. We're going to go to Brazil, where I have an interesting story, plus photos, Karen. So be
Wow,
prepared.
I love
Yeah,
it.
of small, hairy creatures that were spotted in humanoid, walking on two legs, standing upright. Yeah, with pictures. So you want to be ready for that.
Wow.
The, the zombie apocalypse. Who knew that this was a thing? The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. You would think they have better things to do. They issued new guidelines for the upcoming zombie apocalypse. And we're going to, as a public service to our listeners and viewers, we're going to review them for you.
Wow. Okay.
Wow. And
Yeah.
then, we always have a couple of animal stories. So I've got an ancient red snapper from Australia and glow-in-the-dark sharks from New Zealand and a bunch of other stuff. So we're going to talk about all kind of weird things, trivia. I don't know if I have any world records here. I've already forgotten what I just wrote an hour ago. And then, well, go figure. And then we'll play everybody's favorite game, Bluff the Co-host. So real news, sometimes strange, always funny. We're here on newclevelandradio.net. The name of the show is What in the World? Thank you for joining us, and let's get started. Oh, so what happened on Sunday night, Karen? We're here on Tuesday. Something big. The biggest thing that happened on Sunday night. Where were you on? Oh, I won't ask personal
I
questions.
fell asleep watching TV. Oh no, Meghan and Harry were on TV.
The the big royal story. Well, guess what? We have a big royal story of our own here. Okay, I have interviewed two other members of the royal family and gotten their opinions on what happened Sunday with what were their names?
Meghan and Harry.
Harry, yeah.
Yeah.
So they asked me to open with a photo of them. So we're going to take a look at these two. Let's see if you recognize these two members of the royal family. There we go. So I interviewed the Burger King and the Dairy Queen.
Oh, how wonderful.
And they said they don't care. Harry and Meghan can do whatever they want. They don't care. Just come and have some burgers and shakes. That's all they really worry about. How about that? I didn't know that there was an actual Dairy Queen.
Neither did I.
Yeah, pretty cute. Much cuter than the Burger King by far.
Yeah, the Burger King looks a little pasty there.
At least he's wearing his mask.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
So anyways, I didn't. That's the only royal family I have any contact with. So we'll move on. I'm going to leave this up here because it's a nice picture, and I have another one coming right up. So we're going to talk about Cleveland first. We'll get there. Our Cleveland stories out of the way. So other cities, as we've talked about for the past 7 or 8 months now, have these mysterious monoliths showing up. So Cleveland, unfortunately, has a monolith, but it's not a big metal thing. And I'll just put a picture up here for you so you can figure out what it is yourself. There it is. Now, Karen, I know you're familiar with the story, and that's a nose.
Yeah, with hair.
It's a giant nose, yeah, and with what appears to be nose hairs underneath it. Yeah. Now, for those who are not familiar with Cleveland, this nose is in a park. The name of it is Hart Crane Park, which is in the Flats. Now, the Flats are an area of Cleveland that are right alongside the Cuyahoga River, which is what you see in the background. And the bridge and the industrial stuff around there is the former industrial area of Cleveland. This is the area of the river that caught on fire many years ago that Cleveland still hasn't been able to live down the reputation of. So this is in Hart Crane Park, which is right on the river there. And the other monoliths the rumors were that they were dropped by aliens. So I'm thinking, if this, no one's really saying that this one was dropped by aliens, and I guess you can understand why. If it were, it would be the kind of aliens that, maybe they were tapping into our phone, our cell phones, and they saw us taking selfies.
Yep.
And you know how those selfies are, everybody's looking up, and they saw that and said, oh, well, that must be what humans look like. Let's give them a nice little statue of what they show us on their cell phone. So that's what I think that is. I mentioned it's in Hart Crane Park. I had no idea, and but right behind here, I believe, is the Improv Comedy Club, and there's a nice nightclub there.
Right.
I know I've been in this area, but I don't ever remember hearing about Hart Crane Park. Turns out, do you know who Hart Crane is or was, Karen?
Oh, it's a real person?
It's a real person, yeah. Oh, no, it's not.
That.
Yeah, I know. This could be equipment in the background, right?
Yeah.
No, it's a real person. Hart Crane is his name. He was one of America's greatest poets, born in the 1910s, 1920s, in Garrettsville, Ohio, which is in Portage County, right next door to us. The son of Clarence Crane. And I mentioned Clarence because even though his name isn't anywhere, he doesn't have a park named after him, he has something else. He's the inventor of Lifesavers candy.
Really?
He from Cleveland, Ohio. He invented the first one, the peppermint with the hole in the middle.
Wow.
Candy business, and couldn't sell it for anything. So he sold the rights to it for $2,900 to the company that became the Lifesavers Company and made billionaires out of Joe Life and Bob Saver, whoever those people were. Now, the people who live in Cleveland know what the towpath is.
Right.
The towpath, there was a canal connected to the river. The Cuyahoga in Native American means crooked river. And because it was so crooked, it was hard to get barges up and down. So engineers came in and they built a straight canal alongside the river. And back before there were cars, there were mules that would tow the barges down the straight canal to Lake Erie. That became the towpath. The mules went away and they came up with other ways, railroads to transport the stuff. But the towpath remained, and it is now one of the most popular parts of the Cleveland Park system. And this park is at the end of the towpath. It's connected to it. So if you're out running or biking, eventually you're going to see the nose. It's located at let's see. Oh, the River Rowing Foundation is over here. There's a skating park over here. Stuff I had no idea was there. So now let's talk about the nose. So that's Hart Crane. Hart Crane lived to be in his mid-30s, and then he jumped off a boat while he was in Mexico, and that was the last anybody saw of him.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of a sad story, but a very well-known poet among people who know poets. Not Dr. Seuss, so that's the only one I know. And we're not going to talk about Dr. Seuss, so don't worry. Although I did just see, but just as I was getting ready to zoom in, that Pepe Le Pew is in trouble now. Pepe Le Pew, the skunk, the amorous skunk, who appeared in I guess it was Warner Brothers cartoons, got cut out of Space Jam 2. Terrible for his career, because he's overly amorous with the ladies.
Oh my God.
Yeah, with the ladies skunks. Yes.
Okay, I want to go back to the 50s,
I love it. So anyway, so where did this nose come from? Everybody in Cleveland wants to know. It turns out, and it appeared out of nowhere. The people, the owners of this area swear they had nothing to do with it, but they've managed to track it down to a parade. Let's see if I can bring that picture of the parade. Oh, this is the park. So this is because Harry Crane really was a well-known person. I believe this is a quote from one of his poems on that ring,
Yeah.
and you can see the railroad trestle behind it. That trestle goes up and down, or used to. I don't know if it still does. Um, on the river. So it's a cool place to go. Really is a cool place to go. Anyway, so now let's see if I can find the nose picture. Ah, there we go. Okay. The nose made its original appearance in Cleveland in 2018 at the Cleveland Museum of Art Parade. And
Okay.
there it is being rode down the street, or rolled down the street. Now, my question to you, Karen, is that what are those other things in this picture? Any
Yeah,
idea what they might
I'm
be?
not quite sure. I thought the one next to the nose might be a pear, but I don't know what a pear would have to do with an art festival.
No,
Yeah,
no.
no
And
idea.
you know how my mind works.
Yeah, I
They're
do.
green. They're green. They're near a nose. They must be bushes.
Okay. And then
What else could they be?
and
What else?
what is this purple flowered box?
Well, and the person all dressed in white. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's an allergist, and maybe this is an artwork commissioned by an allergist to
Maybe.
promote his business. So in the box might be some allergy pills,
Yep.
and the person in white maybe is the allergist, and then the green things are mucus. Well, we'll use the proper terminology.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's it. So then it disappeared and it reappeared recently. The the people in the park said that they're not going to they're going to bring it in because it's not a real sturdy nose.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So they're going to take care of it. They promised the city of Cleveland that they will take care of the nose and preserve it for posterity, or whatever you
Uh,
preserve that kind of stuff for.
that's nice.
So fortunately, that's not all that Cleveland is known for this week, Karen. It's also known for Baker Mayfield. Now, for those of you who are not Clevelanders or not football fans, Baker Mayfield is the young quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Had a very good season this year, led the team to the playoffs. Cleveland went wild. You can just imagine what's going to happen if they ever make it to the Super Bowl and win. But it's the off season. So football players don't get much attention during the off season unless they commit a crime. And you don't want them doing that. So,
No.
But Baker actually made it into the news. And he's a quarterback, which it's even harder because the only quarterback anybody cares about is Tom Brady.
Yep.
So, he can make the news just by smiling or hugging a trophy or whatever he does. So Baker Mayfield. So he tweeted over the weekend that he and his wife saw a UFO near their home in Texas. So I'm hoping this means that aliens are Browns fans, because maybe they can help us. They can levitate the footballs better for them. Or
That would be sort of nice. Yeah.
yeah. We could use all the help we can get.
Absolutely.
If they're like about 6'8" and weigh 350 pounds, maybe they could play the line, block for poor little Baker.
Yeah.
So anyway, so he says he's driving home from a restaurant in Lake Travis, and he says, his wife, and I just saw a UFO drop straight out of the sky on our way home from dinner. And we stopped and looked at each other and asked if either one of us saw it. So he obviously, this was something he'd never seen before. I think I have a picture of it coming up next year. There it is. So that's not it. He was that's Baker Mayfield, though.
Yeah.
So you know what Baker Mayfield looks like. Lake Travis, by the way, I lived in Houston for many years. A very popular lake in the Austin area, but not known for UFO sightings. The Baker is a native of Lake Travis. He went to Lake Travis High School. He led them to the state championship in football. Now, if you know anything about Texas, it is football crazy. And for someone to lead their high school team to the state championship in football, it's a huge thing. So Baker is a hero in Texas because of that. And so they're going to give him a break about this UFO story. Um, so let's see. So he said it was a very bright ball of light going straight down out of the sky into the lake. Kind of interesting. And he wondered if anybody else had seen it. Um, he said he didn't say what direction he was going in. He didn't say what time of the day it was. He didn't say how much they had to drink at dinner. All the important things that I normally have to ask when I'm writing these kinds of stories for Mysterious Universe. His wife, Emily, said, I won't lie. I'm not typically someone who buys into UFO talk, but all I know is I saw something tonight that I have never seen, and I'm a little thrown off. Oh, boy.
Wow.
Thrown
Hey,
off. Yeah.
yeah.
So whenever somebody says that they saw a bright ball of light going down, that usually says to me that they saw a meteor. And as a matter of fact, Neil Tyson deGrasse Tyson, whatever his name is, the astronomer on TV, he agreed. He said he thought it was a UFO too. He heard the report. But they're very near Brownsville, which is where SpaceX, the people that are
Right.
doing all the private launches, and there was a launch that day, but it was earlier in the day, and it's the one that blew up on the launch pad. So I don't think that was what Baker Mayfield saw. Then there's a bunch of military bases all around that area. So it's inconceivable that they saw a plane of some sort. But some people said, oh, he's just faking it. And, Baker's very good at faking on the football field. But
Yes.
I don't think he's a stand-up kind of guy. I don't think
Yes.
he would fake a story like that. He doesn't want to be picked on by all the other players. And believe it or not, he's not the first football player to see a UFO. And I may have done this story way back when we first started What in the World. Aaron Rodgers, another very fine football player for the Green Bay Packers, revealed in an interview a few years ago that he and his brother and another football player saw a UFO in New Jersey back in 2005, I think, when he may have still been in college, and Baker was a baby. That's about all he said about it, was that he saw a UFO. And then, of course, Tom Brady chimes in. So, he can't let any attention not go to Tom Brady. So some sportscaster says, oh, well, Tom Brady would never see something like that. And if he did, he would never admit it. And sure enough, like minutes after that, Tom Brady tweets, and he mentions the guy's name, and he says, well, how do you know I haven't seen one already? So, it's just like, so anyways, I hope, maybe the aliens zapped something down to Baker, or maybe they abducted him and did some of that weird surgery. And now he's an even better football player than he was before. He's an android or something. And the UFO takes him to the Super Bowl. That would be cool.
That would be.
Yes, it would. So now let's go to something that looks like a UFO, or at least something out of this world. I'm going to take you right to that picture here. What does that what does that look like to you, Karen?
It looks like a big tortilla with jujubes or something on it.
Oh, jujubes. I didn't think about that. Yeah. Think cereal. Those are Fruit Loops.
Oh, Fruit Loops. Oh my
Fruit Loops, yeah. But which is spelled F-R-O-O-T, by the way, because there's no fruit in them. So but I digress. That's a pizza.
It's gross looking though.
Doesn't it? It looks, believe it or not, Karen, in Iowa, this is a delicacy.
They are awfully fruity. Yes.
Okay. Send all your hate mail to
me.
Nuclear Radio, care of Karen, not me.
Yep.
So this pizza is for sale and is a popular item at the Fong's Pizza in Des Moines, Iowa. They serve this is one of their breakfast pizzas, one of their popular breakfast pizzas. and it's called the Loopy Fruits because they, not to get in trouble with the Fruit Loops people. Topped, and this is the most disgusting, is topped with Fruit Loops and cheese.
Oh,
Isn't,
yeah.
isn't that awful? Fruit Loops and cheese. That bird, that toucan Sam, the Fruit
Yeah.
Loops bird. He's cuckoo for this.
Yeah.
I forget what was that? The cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs
Yeah.
bird.
Yeah.
Do you remember his name? I
I
had to
just
look
thought he
it up.
was cuckoo. Okay.
No, it was cuckoo. Yeah, you're right. I don't know if he even had a name. Toucan Sam had a name.
Yeah.
Um, Now, we've talked about pizza on the show before, and I think your favorite pizza must be maybe like mushroom or something like that.
No, I like bacon on my pizza.
Oh, bacon. Oh, bacon's a good choice. Bacon's a good choice. I like sausage and mushroom. That's always been my favorite. Never Fruit Loops. Um, and I think we talked about the worst toppings you could think of. Do you think Fruit Loops is the worst topping ever for a
Oh,
pizza?
I'm sure there's got to be worse. Yeah,
Of course there
like
are. Otherwise, I wouldn't
shredded
ask that question. A recent study on terrible pizza toppings came up with some that are just disgusting. One is dill. Now, not dill pickles. Dill pickles might be
just
good.
dill.
Just plain old dill.
Oh,
Yeah. Just sprinkled on the pizza, dill. But that's not the worst, Karen. Broccoli. Now, I'm not a huge broccoli fan, but it's too big and bulky for pizza
oh,
time
I've
for me.
had broccoli on pizza before.
Broccoli and pizza, yeah. What did you think?
I like it.
Spinach, I could take. Broccoli, not so much. And corn. Now,
Oh,
there's a vegetable you don't usually think of putting on a pizza, corn.
no.
But now so along this theme, I have a couple. Let's see if you can guess what these toppings are. I don't even want you to guess what that red thing is down at the bottom of
Yeah,
that.
I don't want to guess that either.
We'll just move on from there. Okay, what does that look like?
Carrots?
Looks like carrots.
Yeah. I don't know what's
And
underneath it though.
orange ones look like carrots.
Yeah.
This is allegedly.
Oh, maybe asparagus?
It could be. That's what I was thinking, or
Yeah.
okra, and the white ones look like parsnips, which are
Oh,
those white things that if
yeah.
you make a mistake of buying them, they don't taste like carrots.
Yeah.
They look like carrots, look like albino carrots, um, and this is probably like a spinach base or maybe basil, like
Or
basil.
kale.
Or kale. Oh, it could be kale. That's right. Which would make this pizza even more disgusting than it
Yes,
already is.
yes, I think so.
So yeah, but that's not the number one most disgusting pizza. The number one most disgusting pizza, according to this survey, pizza topping, peas. Now,
Oh,
I, that doesn't. The carrots look more disgusting to me than the peas, but
yeah,
according
but
to this
these
survey,
look like something that came from that big nose.
Karen,
I'm
that's something
sorry.
I would expect John to say or me, but
I've been hanging around you guys too long.
you have been. We've been a positive influence on you.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, so that's our worst topping there. All right, now we're always looking for things to make extra money, right?
Right.
I've got a new one for you, Karen. The True Green Lawn Care Company. You've seen their trucks going
Yeah.
around the neighborhood. They are offering $1,000 for one person to play cornhole, 5 separate times and complete a workshop on their experience each time. Now, for those of you listening who don't know what cornhole is, this is the national sport of Cleveland. It's basically you stand at one end or the other with this board with a hole in it, and you hold bean bags, except they're filled with corn, so they're corn bags, and that's hence the term cornhole. And it's played like horseshoes, somewhat. So they don't really say what they're doing. So my guess is that True Green is working on a new fertilizer to take care of brown spots in your lawn that come from people spilling their beer while they're playing cornhole, because that's basically, cornhole is just a reason to drink beer outside. That's the sport right there.
Yep.
And that explains the survey. Some people, they already said, were intimidated by the fact that not only did they have to play cornhole, but they also had to complete a worksheet. So I happen to get a copy of the worksheet. Here's what you say on the worksheet. 1, I threw the bag. 2, I swore. 3, took a sip of beer. 4, repeat. That's pretty much it. What else can you say? I think at some point you change sides, so you'd have to work that in somehow. But that's it. So $1,000, Karen. Get your application in soon. If they're
Sure.
to the True Green website. That's right. $1,000, Karen. Come on.
Hey, that'd take me forever. Not.
It doesn't say you have to get all the bags into the hole.
Oh,
Don't worry about that. I think that's impossible. I think if that were to happen, I think the world as we know it would end if someone actually had a perfect game playing cornhole. The goal is not to win. The goal is to drink the most beer, I believe. So anyways, let's move on from that to our hairy humanoids in Brazil. And as I mentioned, we have photos. So this comes from an island off the Atlantic coast of Brazil, in the state of Bahia. So I'm gonna put the picture up, and I'm gonna tell you what the witnesses said. So there were 2 pictures taken. One on the left is a single hairy humanoid, and to the right looks like maybe a family of hairy humanoids. Not Harry and the Hendersons, Harry and the humanoids.
Yep.
Nobody knows for sure what they are, according to the witness. Could be chupacabra, a werewolf, a Bigfoot, or an ape man. Now, those would be good guesses somewhere else, but Brazil doesn't have any of those things. Believe it or not, they don't have a Bigfoot. I thought they did. So this is on the island of Misericordia, which means Mercy Island. Off the Atlantic coast, and the 2 pictures were taken. They didn't say where, just it was on the island. The creatures appeared to be fur covered or hair covered, walking upright. Hard to tell how tall they are. And you can see they have unusually long knuckle dragging arms.
Yep.
So, if it's not all that other stuff, they said it could be like chimpanzees or gorillas, except Brazil doesn't have those either. So it's got to be maybe an escaped pet or something else. So I always follow the something else. And I went to look to see what kind of other monsters or humanoids might be found in Brazil. And I found one called the Mapinguari or Juma. Those are the 2 names. And there were no photos of them, but there's an amazing recreation. First up is a statue of what did I say it was? The Mapinguari. So here comes a Mapinguari right there.
Oh,
take a good. This is the legendary monster in Brazil. They see them all over the place. Now, if you notice, Karen, if I had a pointer, one of these days we have to figure out how to do a pointer on these pictures. Let's go to the top of his head first.
Okay.
Where you see one eye. So this is a cyclops creature, one-eyed creature. And then you go to the thing where his navel should be, and that's a second mouth. So, kind of cut out the middleman or the little middle throat or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
If he's really hungry, he's got to get food in to go chase the other humanoids. You just shove the food into the lower mouth, and it goes right to the stomach and whatever else is inside this thing.
Sort of looks like he's sitting on a monolith.
Or the monolith came out of him.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible. Or it could be he's just so big that he can't stand on his own.
Oh, could be too. Yeah.
Now, I have another picture of one here. So this is a
Oh my God.
look at that. I like this one better.
Yep.
Uh, definitely a cyclops. So these the mapinguaris live in the rainforest. They have reddish black fur. They reach 7 feet in height. Okay, so it's pretty tall,
Yep.
and they smell like rotting flesh. There you go. That's the key right there. So they must be mostly males. Um, like that. So people in Brazil believe in this thing. They believe this creature haunts the rainforest. They believe in that creature more than they believe in Bigfoot, believe it or not. Um, now, one other theory is that what this creature is actually is an extinct giant sloth, which used to roam across most of South America up until not that long ago, maybe 10,000 years ago. And they believe that it went extinct when humans came from North America over the Panama thing, the isthmus, into South America and saw these giant things and said, "Oh, good eating," uh, and that was the end of them. But this thing still survived. This Juma, I'll call him, because I can't pronounce that other word. So they asked one of the witnesses about the photographs, and I'm going to bring that photograph back up again here. Let me take a look at it. And he says, "Photos are real, but not that much." So even the witness isn't quite sure what he saw. But they brought in an expert in Photoshop, of all things, not an expert in monsters, but one
Of
in
course not.
Photoshop
Yeah.
to check the pictures. And he says, "Oh, he found no evidence of digital editing at all." So he believes that this is real. Um, but they're low resolution. So obviously, you can, just because it's real doesn't mean you can figure out what they are.
Exactly.
However, if you take a look at the picture on the left, Karen, and you zoom, I don't have a zoom here. If you look at his head, that sure looks like he may have just one
One eye.
great object in
Yeah.
one eye. Yeah, yeah. So now, but if you look above his head and to the right, there's a sign up there that happens to be in Arabic, not in Portuguese, which is what it would be if the sign were in
South
in
America.
South America. That's right, either in English, Spanish, or in Brazil, most likely Portuguese. So they're wondering, if this is even Brazil, if it's a hoax. This is, of course, this is my most popular story last week. Everybody loved it.
Well,
Here,
it could have been a family that migrated to South America. They're from, one of
be
the Arab.
careful.
No, they
Oh,
actually they came over. They're of Arab heritage, and that's their store.
could be. Oh, it could be. Yeah, it could be
Yeah,
a Middle Eastern restaurant. Yeah, I.
absolutely.
You're right. You're right about that. Terrible neighborhood, and with these things walking around there. Uh, but yeah, it could be. It could be. So my instructions are, as I tell everybody, if you're going to take pictures of weird stuff, steady the camera. And if you're down in Brazil, zoom in on their stomach
Yeah.
because that's the key right there. Is the stomach. So I'm not going to make you look at this anymore, Karen.
Oh,
We'll
thank
we'll
you.
take this down for a little while here. I know there's a secret way of me bringing. There we go.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. There we
So
go.
let's talk about something better for a little while. Let's talk about coffee. And I don't remember from when we were doing the show at Joe Max how you take your coffee. What's your preferred way of drinking coffee?
So I prefer coffee with creamer.
With creamer,
I like
okay.
flavored coffee. And I add sweetener to it.
And you add sweetener, okay. Do you get the little designs in the creamer? Do you care about that, or
I
you?
don't care about that.
No, okay. I prefer black, okay, hot and black. Like I like my women, as they
Whoa.
bad joke always wins. Yeah, hot and black. Uh, a recent study of 2,000 American coffee drinkers found now they compared cold brew and hot. And I remember when we were doing the show during the summertime, Joe Max would serve that cold brew. I'd never had that before, and it was good. I enjoyed it, but I drank it black. So people who prefer cold brew, and iced coffee are also more likely to prefer sunny weather, 40% of them, binge watching science fiction shows, 37% preferred that, and are more likely to be part of Generation Z. So we are definitely not Generation Z. I know that. So those are the characteristics of people who like cold coffee. Hot coffee drinkers, which would be us, more likely to be extroverts, 40%. I'll buy that. Prefer overcast weather. That's not me.
Not me.
But wait till you hear this one. Enjoy comedy shows.
Oh, I enjoyed this one especially.
You are a big comedy fan. I know that.
Yes, I am.
But how about this? Listen to artists like Taylor Swift. It took me I don't even know who Taylor Swift is. I had to look her up. And be a baby boomer. Okay, so we qualify for half of those.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Coffee drinkers. Okay, so people who prefer coffee would rather, and if they had to give it up and trade for something else, they would rather give up social media, okay, instead of coffee. 22% said I'd rather give up Facebook. No surprise there. 18% would give up television. 16% would give up alcohol. 4% would give up video games before they give up coffee. I'd give up video games right away. I don't even own any, so other than solitaire. Does that count for a video game? I don't think it does.
Well, it's electronic. I mean, if you play with the deck of real cards, then you can.
Right. No, I mean the Windows kind.
No.
Yeah, that shows how old that was. Well, actually, I played Pong. Talk about being old. I can remember playing Pong, and we were so impressed.
Yes, we were.
So anyway, people who like cream, okay, Karen, this is you. Whether it's oat milk, almond milk, soy milk, hemp milk, or regular cream, 1 in 4 coffee drinkers would rather go without their coffee altogether if milk isn't available or cream. Would you agree with that? If you couldn't get cream, you would just pass on it. Have tea or water. Okay. And do you go for the dairy or do you prefer the new plant-based cream?
I like the non-dairy. Yeah,
You like the non-dairy?
Yeah.
So the artificial non-dairy or like
the plant-based stuff. Yeah.
Plant-based. Oh, which oat or almond would you say?
I prefer almond.
Almond. Good taste. Good choice. So 1 in 4 people who drink iced coffee with cream go for the plant-based. Now, if you like hot coffee, people generally prefer cream in their hot coffee rather than dairy cream, rather than oat or almond. I thought that was interesting. Cold coffee drinkers are more inclined to spend their time browsing on Instagram, while hot coffee drinkers are more active on Facebook. So I think that would be us too. Yeah. I don't even. Do you have an Instagram account?
I do for the business, but
for the business. Okay.
I just post on there. I don't even go through it.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm gonna have to check it out. See what's over there. If you don't know what it is.
Your show is out there. That's what's out there.
Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So what did I? Oh, I said I was going to mention Rat Island. Rat Island, believe it or not, is an actual island in Alaska on the Aleutians, that string of islands that hangs off the end of it. That was taken over by rats in the 1700s. The rats came, they never had rats before. It was covered with birds and all kind of stuff. And then ships started coming along and they sank, and the rats, they didn't care. So they got off and swam to the island and immediately took over. And by the time other explorers came to Rat Island, it was completely covered with rats. There were very few other things left. Yeah. Then it got worse during World War II. When there was people stationed out there, it got even worse. So they wanted to bring back the net. There were they would find a few eggs left. So these scientists came in and they exterminated all the rats. They figured out how to get rid of them. And now it's completely back to what it looked like before, with the uh, with the creatures. So, my only point on that is, if you're interested, Rat Island is now available if that's what you want to name your band.
Oh, okay. Sounds
Be a
good.
good name, Rat Island. I'd go see Rat Island. I saw Judas Priest and Megadeth, and Rat Island sounds just as good, better than Devo. Who would go see somebody named Devo? Now, sticking with the animals for a second here, woolly mammoths. Woolly mammoths allegedly disappeared like 12,000 years ago, except in Vermont. So they found a rib bone of a woolly mammoth in Vermont that was dated after the humans arrived in Vermont. So that means that humans were living in Vermont at the same time as the woolly mammoth. Now, they're not blaming the woolly mammoth extinction on the human, unless the humans saw the woolly mammoth with its trunk up against the maple tree sucking out the syrup.
Ooh.
And then for sure they'd kill them off,
Right.
Why else would you go to Vermont? And if you're a listener in Vermont, I apologize. It was just a joke. We've talked about this one on the show a number of times. The leak in the space station. Remember that?
Yeah.
The oxygen was leaking out on the Russian side. Okay, so it was very mysterious. Turns out that there may have been sabotage. They couldn't find the leak. Then they did a spacewalk and they kind of patched it up from the outside with Russian duct tape. So now the Russians claim they finally fixed it. And for my friends in Texas, they'll recognize this technique. They found the leak. It was a crack. So they drilled a hole at each end of the crack. And then they filled it with a filler, kind of a putty kind of stuff. And that supposedly that sealed it off. Now that's the same technique that they use in Texas to fix cracks in windshields. And we don't have it anywhere near as often here as in Texas, where there's just so many trucks hauling gravel and parts and junk. It was constantly falling off and bouncing on the road. I had this happen a number of times. And you see the thing bouncing towards you, and it's crowded, so you can't swerve into the other lane. And it hits the windshield, and then you see the crack form.
Right.
So they drill it at either end and fill it with this clear stuff. And you can still kind of see it, but at least it stops the crack. The bad news is, just like in Texas, it's not covered by your deductible. So the Russians had to pay for this. Yeah, it was terrible. I just wanted to talk about that. Let's talk about zombies here.
Zombies.
You would think the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have something better to do than deal with zombies.
Yeah, especially right now.
Yeah. On their website, you can check this out, cdc.gov, I think it is. They have a zombie preparedness guide. And it's not only is it there, it's been there for some time, and they just updated it with new guidelines. So, but first, what you have to do is check with your governor, because like our governor, he's probably got his own guidelines that he wants us to follow. If the zombie has a mask on, maybe you should wear a mask, or who knows. So here's what's in the guidelines. If you're worried about zombies, you should have an emergency kit in your house with Band-Aids and stuff for cuts and scrapes. Zombies sucking your brains out. I'm not sure that a first aid kit is going to help.
Yeah. What does the first aid kit do?
I don't know. Okay, then it's some supplies, food, water, anything to get you through a couple of days until you can make it to a zombie-free refugee camp. Who knew that they were going to have those? Yeah.
Wow.
You should make plans with the rest of your family to meet someplace to go to the refugee camp. So you have secret plans. We go, first we meet in Brecksville, and then we go to North Welton because they'll have a camp. So you have to do that. You have to plan your evacuation route, because when zombies, this is a quote, when zombies are hungry, they won't stop until they get food, i.e. brains, which means you need to get out of town fast. Those are
wow. This would
from
be
the CDC.
Wouldn't this be a good time to be stupid? Then they wouldn't want your brains.
I never thought of that, Karen. I think you just solved the problem.
I can just
Act,
act stupid.
act stupid. We'd have to work at it. Well, at least one of us would. So let's
Okay.
see. Plan your evacuation. Oh, and then the CDC says if you need help, the CDC will provide technical assistance to cities, states, or international partners. I guess zombies can cross international lines to deal with the zombie infestation. Not only will scientists be working to identify the cause and cure for the outbreak. I'm acting stupid here. I just never finished the sentence. Uh, but they also, like Boy Scouts, they have a zombie task force for kids to join so they can learn early on. They give this to teachers to prepare the kids to become zombie task force. You get you get a T-shirt and you get a poster and you got to send
Wow.
in money. What are they using the money for? I don't know. So you join the zombie task force. Go to the center. This is honest to God, actual truth. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Um, I don't. Let me see if I
I
had
don't know. I
join.
like
Oh,
that.
okay. So let's talk about music here for a
Oh,
second. We haven't talked about music on the show for quite a while, and I know what a big music fan you are. So this is kind of has an animal theme to it. This comes from Australia. A researcher, like a marine biologist kind of person, who is also a former DJ. She now studies zebrafish. So she decides to combine her two careers, and she starts playing music for the zebrafish. Which means she had to figure out a way to figure out if the zebrafish actually heard it. Um, and she found out that the zebrafish have better hearing than marine biologists first
wow.
thought. Yeah, how about that? So good, Karen, that they can distinguish between bands. Now, what do you think a fish's um, favorite band would be?
Fish.
Fish. I gave that one away. Fish. Fish is one. Hootie and the Blowfish, they also like.
Oh, okay.
And if they're old, if they're baby boomer fish, they like Country Joe and the Fish.
Mm.
Uh, and of course, their favorite song, Mac the Knife. Oh, that shark bite.
I don't think they would like that because there's a knife on the
Well,
fish.
but doesn't Mac have it? The shark?
Oh, I guess, yeah.
Boom! I got you on that
You
one.
did, you did it.
Okay. Oh, I have one more picture. I knew I had one more picture. So this is wild. This went all over the internet. I'll bring the picture up so you can take a look at it. Maybe you've seen it. Okay, no, not that one. We saw that one already. Um, oh, that's a Greek alphabet. Oh, these are fish. These are fish that glow in the dark in Australia. Sharks. We're
Yeah.
talking about Mac the knife. Yeah, look at that. That fish actually, which is a good thing. I mean, if you're swimming, I'd rather have a fish glow in the dark than try to loop a bell over his fin so that the next time I hear him coming. There we go. Take a look at that, Karen. That is an actual photograph, unretouched, of a oil tanker floating a couple 100 feet above the water.
I don't believe it.
Did you see that? That is an actual photo. It's called. Uh, this was off the coast of Cornwall, England. So my good friend Simon in Texas, the high maintenance import, married to Texas chick. He grew up in Cornwall. So this ship, this is an oil Mirage. It's called a Superior Mirage. And what happens is this is a common thing. The temperature of the air underneath close to the water is much colder than above above the ship, and it causes the image to be inverted somehow. And this,
Ah,
yeah, so it distorts the. It's like when you look at a spoon and your picture is upside down. It's kind of that kind of effect. But they blame this for like the Flying Dutchman, the legend of the Flying Dutchman, the ship that sailors would see flying in the air. They think that the same phenomenon caused that. And I think Pirates of the Caribbean had a flying ship in theirs as well. So I just thought, that made the national news, that flying ship in Cornwall. I thought I'd bring that up there for us to take a look at. And it's a real thing, that's like we always say, real news, sometimes strange, always funny. But definitely funny, very strange, and real. So
Well, and if you really look at the picture, you can
yeah,
almost see the indent in the water where the ship really.
where the ship would be,
Yeah.
that's exactly
Yeah.
right. I think back before we had this high technology that I could show pictures, I think I talked about a phenomenon where an entire city will appear floating above water. That happens in China a lot, and it's another weather condition. So one of those things you learn only on What in the
What in the
World. So
world? Yes.
how about that? Yes. So I think that's the end of my photograph for this week, and I think we just about made it to Bluff the co-host.
Absolutely.
So everyone's favorite weird news game show. The way you play it. I have 3 stories similar to the ones that we talked about during the show, with the added bonus that they may not all be true. So this is the only time when the stories may not be true. It's
All
up to Karen. Karen has to decide whether I'm telling a real story or a bluff. So Karen, put your hand on the buzzer.
I'm ready.
Get ready to play at home, and we'll go with story number 1. A woman in New York City thought she was feeling a draft in the bathroom of her apartment. So she followed it to a tiny hole behind the bathroom mirror. Rather than plugging it up with caulk or calling the landlord, she instead made the hole bigger, then shined a flashlight in it, and discovered an entire empty 3-bedroom apartment behind her bathroom wall. Seems hard to believe, but the landlord said he had no idea that it was there. The woman actually made the hole big enough to crawl into and put video tours of this apartment on TikTok. Since she discovered it, she thinks she should be able to use it and not have to pay rent for 2 apartments since the landlord didn't know about it. But she can't rent it out because the tenants would have to go through her bathroom in order to enter or exit. All right. So the lady who finds an entire apartment behind her bathroom, this is an Alice in Wonderland theory, behind her bathroom mirror that nobody knew about. New York City, home of apartments.
Okay.
Real or bluff?
So if I can see her cutting out the hole and going through it, got it.
Going through it, yeah.
But there should be a way on one of the walls besides her bathroom to make an entrance into it.
But she's not the landlord.
I understand that, but
Huh?
you're saying the only way they could get to it is through her bathroom.
No one knew it. There's no other door.
No, I'm sure it's true, and I think the landlord is stupid because he should be able to architecturally figure out how to put a door into that space. So
you say
it's a true story.
it's not too strange it's so strange it has to be. It's not that strange. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. It's real. If you Google it on TikTok, you can see her butt going through the hole. It's the funniest thing. But yeah, the landlord swore that he didn't know anything about it. And of course, and there was no bathroom. But ironically, it's on her bathroom wall, and yet there were no bathroom facilities in it. So who knows what it was? It's a mystery.
Yeah.
Wrapped inside an enigma and all that other stuff. All right, very good, Karen. So, I didn't play for John. John said it was a bluff. So you're he just emailed his answer.
I
Okay, story number 2. Cattle researchers in Wyoming ask organic dairy farmers who refrain from using milking machines to design their ideal cow. And the farmers said their number 1 need today is to be able to milk cows while practicing social distancing. That request is now a reality, as the Animal Husbandry Department at the University of Wisconsin announced its researchers have used genetic engineering to develop cows with supermuscular udders capable of squirting milk 6 feet or more with 98% accuracy for hitting the milk bucket. To cut down on splashing, the milk streams in a gentle arc across the barn, and the cow's nipples, are stiff enough to maintain accuracy through an entire milking cycle. With the farmers at a safe distance away, the cows appear to be more contented, and there's no longer any risk of them kicking the bucket. Over. Not the other kind of kicking the bucket. Okay. So genetic engineers at the University of Wisconsin make cows with udders that can squirt 6 feet for social distancing.
Well, modern farms today have this machinery. You don't just.
These are organic. These are vintage farmers. These are vintage.
Vintage.
They don't use the modern day equipment.
Yeah,
they're like Amish. They're like
I'm
Amish
still going to say, no way.
No?
No.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Okay, you're right. At the bluff. Be pretty funny though to squirt. Yeah, I know they can squirt a ways. I've seen cows squirt quite a distance. I don't know about 6 foot.
Yeah.
But right up. The accuracy gave it away. I know. Okay, so John, I just got an email from John. He said it was true. So you're ahead 2-0 there, Karen. How about that? All right, story number 3. Oh, points are doubled here. So you could really, you could just get 4 points.
Yeah.
Here you go. If you watched Super Bowl 55, that's Super Bowl LV, and enjoyed the game, but didn't like the halftime show, the producer of the Broadway musical Jersey Boys has a deal for you. He's currently working on Super Bowl 55, the musical, featuring original songs based on the game turned into musical numbers staged by actual Broadway singers and dancers. Some of the original songs of Super Bowl 55, the musical, include All the Way to Tampa Bay, On the Brady Side of the Street, Grief for the Chiefs, Sack It to Me One More Time, and I Am the Gronk. Talks are underway to get Hugh Jackman to play Tom Brady, John Goodman to play Tampa Bay Buccaneers coach Brian Arians, and Rob Gronkowski to play himself. So, Super Bowl 55, the musical, once the theater district opens on Broadway, that's one of the new musicals that will be opening. Real or bluff?
Well, I have no desire to see it.
You don't even want to hear On the Brady Side of the Street?
No. And the sad part is Broadway seems to keep reinventing old shows, not coming up with new shows.
Not coming up with new. Well, this could be considered new, although it's based on an old game.
I know. I hope it's false, because if it's real, that's terrible. So I'm going to say it's a bluff.
You think it's a bluff? You can't hear that in your head. Sack it to me one more time.
I can hear it, but I don't want to hear it.
Well, let's see. I'll give you a hint. John just emailed me that it's true. So you're right. It's a bluff.
Thank goodness. Oh,
I think it'd be a great idea. After I wrote this, I have to call my friend who's a Broadway producer and see if he'd be interested in doing this. I think we'd have a lot of fun.
Well, I guess
nobody would go.
Yeah, but one of the biggest complaints I've heard recently from people who are in the movie and entertainment industry is that instead of people coming up with new ideas, they're taking the old ones and they're making them the second and third generation. And so I'm so glad this is not real.
I know. I don't like to see movies being made into musicals. And as much as I like Jersey Boys, and I really did like Jersey Boys, it was a good story. The story of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons and their life before and during that time was really a outstanding, and I love the music. So, but I agree with you 100%. That's just there are talented people around who can come up with new musicals, new
Yep.
TV shows. That's another one of my pet
Yep.
peeves. New TV shows. Come on. I don't want to see The Fugitive for the seventh time or
I think the best TV show they could come up with is What in the World with Paul Seaburn.
oh wow.
Yeah.
I think that's an excellent idea, Ken. We're going to have to work on that. But in the meantime, I think we've come to the end of a What in the World podcast, which is all you have now. And thank you for being a part of it. I want to thank Karen, our producer and media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, for all the things she does, producing What in the World and just a wide variety of really interesting, helpful podcast at New Cleveland Radio. And I'll thank my buddy John. I know he'll be watching the show later today or tomorrow. He will be back with us next week. Thank you to everybody, wherever you're at, whether you're in Ohio, Texas, around the world. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you had a good time. That's our goal, is to have some fun, have a good time. So on that note, I will say goodbye to everyone, and thanks again, Karen. See you next week.
See you next week.